This video is sponsored by U2s. When I was around 7 years old, I watched the movie Cars in theaters. Now, this wasn't anything special to me as a kid, but I found myself watching it over and over again. I started to know the movie like the back of my hand. Every joke and catchphrase, everything just making me feel like I'm having so much fun as a kid. Over time, growing up more and more, I stopped watching it, leading the movie to just fade from my memory like a rusty car sitting in someone's shed. But when I went back to it recently, I loved it, and not just for nostalgia's sake. I felt like I was watching a story made with heart, something so absurd and goofy, but also something so secretly passion-filled. People pan this franchise immensely. People give it the worst reputation because the demon child that is the second one, and I think this excuses a lot of people from ever going back to the first one to ever see the story that was presented. And I feel like this happens a lot for movies, especially animated ones, just because of jokes or bad first watches, just leading people never to take a trip back into the world that they once visited. And this is exactly how Onward is being treated. This movie feels special, this movie feels unique, and yet everything I see about the movie presents otherwise. Everyone I see talk about it only mentions the negatives, and it's kind of upsetting. It's upsetting to see such a classic feeling story be so panned or so forgotten so easily. This movie is massively flawed, but for me, the positives far outweigh it. Positives I'll find myself looking back on fondly or wanting to see again really bad. Characters that I found heartwarming or just really charming. Music that felt nostalgic but also original at the same time. A lot of it just feels really good. This movie is good, at least to me, but I'm not blind to the flaws. The character writing can be a little bland, but at the same time insanely charming. The directing can be average, but at the same time mesmerizing. It's a mixed bag, honestly. But there's a part of me when watching that is fine with ignoring the flaws. It's fine with watching the stuff I love be loved, whether it be simply the world itself, the most original feeling world in my eyes since Cars. And this is what gives the similarities between the movies to me. Pixar is known for making inanimate objects lifelike and human. What if toys were alive? What if fish had talk shows? What if your emotions inside of you were because of Bill Murray and he ate a boiled egg touched by a monkey? It's all cute stories we love all of them, but somehow Cars and Onward feel the most distinct world-wise, with the exception of Monsters Inc., which has a cute whimsical theming and design choices, but it never goes insanely far past the intro portion and the sushi making scene. I say this because instead of taking our existing world and changing it up a little with superpowers or parts of it being filled with magic or whatnot, the world itself is different. My favorite aspects about Pixar movies or animated ones in general are just the consistencies, everything that makes them immersive yet relatable at the same time. That's what some of the best Pixar movies accomplish, and that's what makes my heart happy. I honestly feel like Onward's fantasy world is the best to me. It actually feels distinct and cute. It has so much potential, and in some ways is fully realized, and I think people overlook it. All the relatability of the characters still resembling humans is there, but then you get the cute design choices that separate it from the rest. Most structures are uneven and curved, at least in suburban areas. In cities and such, there are thin towers and skyscrapers with the edges of buildings being shaped like castles. The pipings on the sides of buildings even look weird and fantasy-like. And this is what I like. This is such a good aspect about this movie. You have this world that feels like ours, except everything is twisted with this magical aspect. This is a land where magic has become something of a joke. It's been forgotten by everyone except for the hardcore nerds. It's become a commodity at Chuck E. Cheese. It's simply just a joke. And yet throughout the movie, you have these nerds following one legend of magic that their dad left to them. The main characters, Ian and Barl. Barl. Now that's a good name. But you know what else is a good name? U2s. They're little designer collectible figurines from all over the internet. They're like small little crushable vinyl guys. I've been a fan of U2s for a little while. I have a couple from my friends, and then I saw they were dropping an Arthur U2s where his fist is doing, the fist thing, and I knew I had to get it. Twice. Okay, maybe a little more than that. U2s has had almost 100 drops in the last year, including Pokimane, Doge, Critical, and many more. They're all limited editions, so make sure you grab one because once they sell out, they're gone forever. The Arthur U2s is especially cute and really well designed. It's super adorable. Every U2s is individually packaged in a neat little cute box. The Arthur U2 specifically has cute patterns all over, and I really like it. It really gives a feeling of Arthur. Head on over to U2s.com to grab your Arthur figurine today. Thank you U2s for sponsoring this video. And now back to the movie. It's a movie where these two nerds are left this gem by their dad that will allow them to see him for one day. But when they try to use it, they mess it up and only have his bottom half. So they search for a way to get the rest of him before time is up. Now, that's a cute premise and a sad one. This is a story about loss, about dealing with it and figuring out a way to move on. Pixar excels at these kind of story beats. Growing up, dealing with loss, moving on, all of it. No matter the movie, each of them have at least one moment to make your heart go, "Gah!" Onward, oh boy, Onward has a lot of these. Now the voice acting can be a little basic and normal. Chris Pratt and Tom Holland are lovable though, and there's nothing wrong with it. Tom Holland's shy little voice works for story beats. It works to make you cry.
Hi, Dad.
Chris Pratt's basic, goofy, Jack Black kind of character is fine. It's funny.
Madam, I request an audience with the Manticore.
The entire movie is just these two dudes focused on seeing their dad for one last time. Just one. And Barl helps Ian reach this point. Barl is the one that makes this work. And honestly, the arcs are wonderful. Their entire journey into the final act is incredible. Never once dragging and always adding a new layer of fantasy action. I love the parts of this movie where they take this fantasy legend presented through Barl and we find out it's become this simple, lame thing like the Chuck E. Cheese. This mighty, crazy, dangerous manticore has just become a business owner. But with determination and also annoyance, they break her into remembering the feeling of what it was like to be that crazy, dangerous manticore. And they do this a lot throughout the movie with different creatures or species in this world, making them remember who they once were and just embracing it. They make them embrace what they have. And that's a common theme that ties into the ending message. See, throughout the movie, you have the brothers trying to see their dad. But we see how Barl is. We see how he's focused on just fantasy legends and how Ian gets upset that it's literally the only thing he cares about. He's a screw up. Yeah, he's a screw up. Everyone knows that. Ian doesn't know his place though. He doesn't know his place in the world, and it's caused him to be too scared of almost everything, honestly. But yet he sees how his brother is so easily confident, so easily able to ignore fear, and they help each other out. Ian helps Barl break from his facade of acting like he only cares about fantasy stuff and has him show a personal side, and Barl helps Ian overcome fear. The only way they can help each other is by embracing the sides that they don't like. They embrace the things that were holding them back, and this is how they use their downfalls as advantages rather than shortcomings. This happens a lot of times throughout the action sequences or just really quiet moments, like when they're trying to get gas, or like when Ian is trying to walk over an invisible bridge. It actually was a little tense and I like it a lot. But it doesn't end there. During the third act, Ian has to give this big fight with a dragon, but that's not the important part. The important part is that Ian gives up what he wanted most for his brother. He chooses to distract the dragon and fight it and give Barl the chance to see his dad. After never having his dad in his life, Ian realizes Barl, as goofy as a screw-up he is, has helped him a lot more than he could ever ask for. So Ian gives up the one chance to see his dad to his brother, the one who was able to spend more time with him. Ian gives this chance up because he embraces his brother's love. See, look, they're embracing, they're physically embracing, do you get it? This is one of my favorite final moments in Pixar. The entire movie leads up to this. Ian constantly thinking of things that he wants to ask his dad, thinking of things that he wants to tell him, all of it. It's honestly really sweet because he just gives all of it up. He gives everything up, because since you only have the dad's bottom half, you get so many comedic moments or just heartwarming moments between all three of them. I mean, if you could feel this much personality through just a pair of legs, how can you deny that this movie has a lot of emotion? The movie does wonders with all of this, just literally using this dude's foot to talk or convey any emotion. I mean, come on, it's a shoe. It's a shoe that makes you cry. And you're gonna tell me that isn't sweet? And after all this bonding, after all the emotion both of the brothers feel, Ian is still able to move on and give that chance to his brother. Now that's powerful, and I love it. I don't even want to mention how gorgeous the animation is. That's something you'll get from Pixar no matter what. But I need to talk about how this movie is constantly moving from scene to scene, and that every single environment is detailed to the very pixel, even if you only see it for a minute. It adds such a big layer to this movie, because even if you ignore the intense detail, every second between the brothers feels powerful. If it's for comedy's sake or drama's sake, every moment in the van feels like it's changing a part between them. Every moment with Ian, Dad Legs, or Barl. Every moment Ian spends in the back while Barl drives and Ian is just spending time with Dad Legs in the back. Feels like they're all feeling the same thing, but don't know what to say just quite yet. I mean, obviously for the dad, he's just legs, he can't talk. And what does the movie do in the end? What does the movie do in the end? They get rid of the van. They take away the van aspect. That place that was bringing them together in some way, they get rid of it because they don't need it. They just need each other. Dang, that's powerful. This movie just feels overlooked. It feels like people are saying it's forgettable and that they'll never watch it again. And honestly, that makes me really sad. It's the same way that I feel everyone looks at Cars, a really heartfelt story that people get a meh first impression of and then they walk away and never look back. And I have no idea why. For Cars, it's probably because it's so goofy, and for Onward, it's probably because it's a weird premise for them. I don't think this is a story that should suffer because of that. It's heartfelt. It feels like one of those movies that people will look back on in 5 years and be like, dang, that hit really hard. That hit in a certain way unlike any other movie. I haven't even talked about the other characters. The mom, she's supportive. She's always following behind them, but not because she wants to stop their journey. She just wants to keep them safe because she knows that they need to do this for themselves. Now that's a good mom. All the characters in this movie feel authentic and cheesy, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with the little cheese. I'd like to think that this is one of those movies that comforts people in a certain way. The story of loss and moving forward and accepting the family you have is something all of us need to hear sometimes. I can't imagine how much harder this movie would feel for someone who has actually lost someone really close. But I hope it was helpful. I hope it was helpful because it's a story that seems like it cares. Aside from all the corporate talk from Disney, the money motives or anything, if the story is effective, if it's pulled off in a good way that makes sense, has passion, and has that ending moment to make your heart go, "Guh," it's good in my book.